Hi everyone, I'm Heather. Welcome to Strings and Threads, streaming to you from my dungeon of dreams. Join me in the magical world of crochet, knitting, and all things yarn. If you're a fellow yarn enthusiast, hit that subscribe button and become part of our creative journey. Let's dive into today's project. Hi, my name is Heather. Welcome to Strings and Threads. Today I'm going to do a video tutorial for the donut pillow, which is for pets/humans, whoever wants to use it. They're nice and big. They are nice to put down on the floor and have your pet sit on them. I know cats love these kinds of pillows. So what you'll need 2 stitch markers. You'll need 2 different colors for your donut. I'm just making the actual donut part. It's going to be kind of, I guess, a vanilla donut. I don't know. And then I was looking around at my yarn and I have a ton of pink yarn, so I thought I would do pink icing. But this is about what you'll need, maybe slightly less, but you'll need about one of these 7-ounce skeins medium weight yarn. If you are curious what this one is baby pink, and it is Red Heart Super Saver. This one, my guess is that this was Red Heart Super Saver. I pulled this out of my stash. I don't know why it's rolled up in a ball. I don't remember, to tell you the truth. And I am going to be using a J, which is a 6mm hook, to do that. So we're going to work with the 2 colors at the same time. I just find it easier rather than like doing a whole thing and then doing the next one the whole thing. I never feel like doing the second one after I do the first one, but if we do them together, it makes it a little bit better. If you would like to do it at one after the other, that's fine. So I am going to use a magic ring here. If you don't want to use a magic ring, you can also chain 2 and then put your stitches in the second chain from the hook, which is the first chain that you made. But the way I do slip stitches, I go as if I was going to do the first slip knot, and then I just don't pull it tight. So there's my slip stitch. And we're going to chain 2 and put 10 double crochets in this magic circle. Easy for me to say, right? There's one. You know what? I don't know what happened there. I'm going to try that one again. Sorry about that. This is real life here. No fancy nails either. We're doing, if you've seen some of my other tutorials, you might have heard me talking about it, but we're doing work around our house. We're fixing up our basement and making it into an entertainment space. And so I've been doing a lot of painting and cutting and staining and moving, and it just, having beautiful nails and beautiful hands is just is not sustainable for me right now because of all the work that we're doing. But, whoops. Hopefully this is not too off-putting. I know a lot of the really good tutorials, the women have their hands beautifully, I don't know what the word is, beautifully done, beautifully manicured. All right, let me see where I am. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 more. 9, 10. Now we're going to pull the magic ring tight with the tail. If you did the chain 2 method, unfortunately you can't pull that. You can't pull that tight, but okay, we're going to attach with a slip stitch to the first double crochet that we did. Okay, and that's how it looks to start. Now you go to your icing color. I forgot to say that I'm going to use a lot of different scraps, but we're going to put sprinkles on this donut, so you can get little scraps of yarn, or whatever yarn that you would like, just to make different colored sprinkles. So I love these kind of things where you can just go in and raid your leftover yarns and find a purpose for them. So the same exact thing that we did on the first one, we're going to do on this one. We're going to put 10 double crochets in the magic ring, pull it tight, and then attach with a slip stitch to the first double crochet. Let's do that off camera and then come back. Here's how it looks in pink. I pulled the circle tight. Now here's where we're going to need the stitch markers, because from this round out, we're not going to attach to the first stitch with a slip stitch because it leaves a little bit of a seam. So we're just going to work in continuous circles. I'm just attaching the first one. So we're going to put a stitch marker in the very first stitch of your round, so that the next stitch that you go into would be that. I'm not going to seal that because I'm going to move this one right away. If you would like, you can get stitch markers for the loops here, but you definitely need a stitch marker to mark where the first stitch is. You don't want to lose track of your rounds. All right, so for the second round, we're going to chain 2, and you're going to put 2 double crochets in every stitch around. So at the end of the round, you will have 20 stitches. Sorry about that. But make sure, I'll show you here. There's my first stitch of the round, and I'm going to put a stitch marker in it. The first stitch is very obvious on this first row, but once you start working in the round long enough, it's harder to see where your first stitch is. So this is also called an increase, putting 2 stitches in one. It's either called an increase or just put 2 in each stitch around. So you can see I'm crocheting my tail in because I hate tails. Then I'm putting 2 double crochets in every stitch. And you should end up with 20 by the end of the round. I'll do this one with you, and then we'll do the pink one off camera, or whatever color you're using, my pink one. We're gonna increase in the next stitch, every stitch across. That would have been 3. Here we go. 2 in this one. I'm a little bit slow. I'm sure you're way ahead of me by now because I'm looking through a camera. When I don't look through the camera, my hands tend to wander off screen. So I'm looking through the camera to make sure my hands are staying where they're supposed to, and it's a little bit harder to crochet through a camera than looking at your hands naturally. If you're at the end, do not attach with a slip stitch to the first double crochet. I will show you. Oops. I have a little bit of a tangle there. I'll deal with that off camera. So when we go to do the next stitch, we'll just go right into here. We won't join this up. So I'm going to leave this one just undone like this and go do the same exact thing now with the other color. So both should end with 20 stitches in the round and then come back. All right, I did the same thing on this one. So we'll come back to our original color. And this time the pattern is going to be an increase or 2 double crochets into the first stitch. I want to bring my stitch marker up immediately. There's the first stitch, 2 in that first stitch, or an increase in the first stitch, and then 1 double crochet in the next stitch. Oops. An increase in the next stitch. We're going to end this round with 30 double crochets. Each round is going to increase by 10. I'm going to go over the pattern with you for a few rounds, and then I'm going to let you know how long to do the pattern before you stop. And then 1 double crochet in the next. And we'll do some of this off camera just so that the video is not too ridiculously long. It takes forever to download when you do that. An increase in this stitch, and then 1 double crochet in the next. Okay, follow that pattern until you get back to your first stitch marker, and then do the same thing with your other color. We'll have them both kind of work up the same. It's an increase in the first and then 1 stitch in the next, an increase in the next, 1 in the next, and then come back when you've got both of them done. Okay, here they are now. So the next round, we have 30 stitches in this round. So this round will end with 40 stitches. Like I said, each round is going to be 10 stitches more. I'm going to put 2 double crochets or an increase in the first stitch. I want to make sure that right away I put that stitch marker where the first stitch is. I don't want to lose track of where that is. And then 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1 in here, 1 in here. Then there's going to be an increase in the next stitch. And then 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. Okay, do you see the pattern here? An increase and then 2 stitches with just 1 double crochet. An increase and then 2 stitches. So this one will be an increase, 2 double crochets in that stitch, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So finish this one and your icing color, and then come back and we'll talk about the next part. Okay, here's how they look so far. And I just wanted to show you the pattern. I'm guessing that you've pretty much figured it out. But the next round would be increase and then 3 stitches, increase 3 stitches, increase 3. The next one would be increase and then 4 stitches. So you just keep making this second number go up. The next round would be increase and then 5. So here's how it would look. It would be, for the next round, an increase in the first stitch and then 1 double crochet in the next 3. 2 double crochets or an increase in the next, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 3. And then the next round it would be 4 instead of 3, and the next round will be 5. The next round would be 6, and so on. And I do this, you can stop when it's big enough for you. The directions are pretty much the same no matter where you stop. We're not going by number of stitches, we're going by a certain way of doing it. So if you wanted to have a smaller pillow, you could stop it at a smaller space. If you want it to be a bigger pillow, you can stop even longer than when I stop. I go all the way until it's increase and then 1 in the next 15 stitches. So you would do all of these in between. It'll be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way to 15. And that's where I stop it. But if you're making it and you're looking at it and you're like, I want it to be this size, or if you look at it when you're at that point where it's an increase and then 1 in the next 15 and you're like, I'd like this pillow to be larger, then just keep going. We're also going to need stuffing for this. I use stuffing to stuff the pillow. I keep forgetting to say the things that we need. So rather than me coming back every round to remind you what the pattern is, I think you can see the pattern. Go until this pillow is either an increase and then 1 in the next 15, or when the pillow is the size that you want. And then we'll come back for the next directions. All right, I have both done. I'll do my best to kind of show you. They're so big right now, it's kind of hard to get them in shot. But here's how they look. I went until it was increase and then 15 stitches and then an increase in 15 stitches. And that's the row that I ended on. So like I said, you're welcome to adjust the size. If you want it bigger, then continue adding more rows in the same pattern that we were doing before. And if you want it smaller, just stop where you want to stop it, because the directions, for the next part don't matter it doesn't matter how many stitches you have. It's just going to be the same no matter what. So this part is the icing. I'm having the pink icing, and since icing kind of drips over the side, I didn't want to keep it straight. So you do have 2 options here. You can keep it straight if you want, if you have somebody who has like the most perfectly frosted donut, and they are able to get their sides straight without dripping. I'm going to put a few drips on mine. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try this pattern, and I'm still going to continue to mark the first stitch. I'm going to do it with treble crochets. I'm sorry, I knew I wanted to do treble crochets and I forgot. I'm going to do 5 treble crochets to start. This will be a pattern, so I'm going to mark here as this being the first stitch. Oops. So 1, and then go into the next stitch. 2. I can show you a treble crochet a little bit slower for the next stitch in case you aren't familiar with those. So a double crochet, you yarn over once. A treble crochet, you yarn over twice, and then you draw up a loop, and then you go through 2. Oops. Oh no. Yarn over twice, draw up a loop, go through 2, go through 2, go through 2. Okay, so we have 3 of those right now. 4, treble crochet, and then 5. Okay, then we're going to do a half double crochet, 2 single crochets, then a half double crochet, and then we will repeat what we just did. 5, that's going to be the repeat. It should give us a little bit of wave here. It's not going to be a huge dramatic wave, but it will not be perfectly flat. So the pattern is 5 treble crochets, half double crochet, 2 single crochets, half double crochet, 5 treble crochets, half double crochet, 2 single crochets, half double crochet. You're going to follow that all the way around, and then when you get to here, we're going to connect to the first stitch with a slip stitch. And it doesn't matter where you end. If you end on a half double crochet, that's fine. If you're in the middle, I didn't count these out, and it's not going to matter because not everybody will necessarily have the same number of stitches depending on how big you wanted to make the pillow. Just wherever your pattern ends, stop it there and then join with a slip stitch to the first stitch, and then we'll talk about the end because we need to figure out then which side is doing the sewing. So we'll talk about that. We'll do the bottom piece next. So don't finish it, but just attach with a slip stitch to the first stitch. And I'll come back and show you how mine looks. All right, I ended my last stitch of the round on a half double crochet. So now I'm just going to go into that first stitch and attach with a slip stitch. And then I'm just going to put another stitch marker in here to hold the stitch because I'm not going to finish it off yet. We're going to do a little bit of sewing later, so we're going to figure out how to do that. But I wanted to show you. I hope you're getting that nice rippling edge like I am. I know it's a pattern, and I suppose if you wanted to, you could not have it in a pattern. You could just do, mix match to make the drips look a little bit different, but I like it in this pattern. It just looks like, it's rippling rippling edges. So now we're going to move on to the bottom part of the donut, and we need to bring this up so that right now it's flat, but we need to bring the edges up a little bit to make it more of a, have a thicker donut. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to just do 4 rounds of double crochet, 1 double crochet in each stitch. And because we're not increasing, it's going to start to curl up. And then I'll show you how we'll do it later, but this top will sew over that. Okay, so for now, just add 4 more rounds to this without any increases, just 1 double crochet in each stitch around. Continue to mark where the first stitch is. And then when you get to the end of your 4th round, do the same thing we did with the pink piece. You're going to attach with a slip stitch to the first stitch and then just use a stitch marker to keep it in place so that we can figure out what to do next. All right, this is starting to get to be a big project here, like size-wise. So here's the top part, my icing, and then I just finished the 4 rows without any increases for the bottom, and you can see how it's kind of coming up like a basket, which is good. That's what we were going for. Now for this bottom piece, we are going to attach with a slip stitch to the first. Now you can see, because we were going in continuous rounds, you can see that this is high, but we're just going to go into the next stitch, pull up a stitch, slip stitch into it, and then finish it with a little tail, like maybe about that much, enough that you can weave in your ends. So pull through, and then I'm going to go get a darning needle and I'm going to weave in my ends. I'll be right back. Okay, now we're going to find where the pink is, and we're going to use the pink to sew over the top of the, I don't know why I have 2 here. What did I do? All right. I probably just got another one instead of attaching with both. So we'll do a little bit of the same here. We're going to cut a long tail though now because we're going to use it to sew. And if we need to, we might have to cut more later, but I am going to do a fairly large tail here just to see how far I can go with it. but how long you make it depends on how long you feel of a tail you feel comfortable with when you sew. So I'm going to go into the next stitch. Actually, I think I already did a slip stitch. Okay, that's why I had to. I already did the slip stitch in. And then I'm going to pull this through to pull it tight. And then use my darning needle at the bottom here and thread. And the way to sew it, I'm not going to sew the whole thing on camera, but I'm going to get you started. Okay. Let me bring it closer here. We want the icing to be spilling over the edge, so this will be the outside. So what you're going to do is go through the pink, and when you're on the top part here, like not this dripping over part, but when you're at the single crochets, you're going to go right into the top of the bottom part of the donut. Top of the bottom part. That, I know that's probably not the best way to describe it. And then as it drips down, you're just going to go down a little bit. So that this does look like it's dripping over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to match up the next single crochet part with the top, so then I know where I'm going. And then we're going to do this across, and you're going to leave. I want to double check my measurements here because I don't know it in centimeters. I would say leave about a 7-inch opening to be able to put stuffing in. And also, if you wanted to sew sprinkles on, we do that at the end. So if you can make it even bigger if you wanted to, but I wouldn't recommend going less than 7 inches, which is about 18 centimeters, just so you can get your hand in there if you wanted to put sprinkles on the top, and also so that there's enough space to put stuffing in. So keep the extra tail, because you're going to sew it shut once you have it stuffed and everything's ready the way that you want it. So let's go all the way across except for about 7 inches, and then we'll come back and talk about the next part. All right, I left about the opening size that I had said, and all the rest, I love how this looks. I don't think I want to put sprinkles on mine, but if you wanted to, you can use scrap pieces of yarn and then cut them big enough that you would, come in here. You can have knots on the bottom because it'll all be on the inside, and then just pull the string through and then maybe go about 1 row. And then you can do them different directions too. So whatever this size is, I can measure that for you. Across one of those double crochets, it's about a 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, maybe about a little bit less than 2 centimeters. And then you can use whatever colors you want. You can put as many on as you want. You can change colors. But I'm going to leave mine plain because I really, really, really like it like this. And I like how it comes down, the icing comes down on the side. So now we're ready to stuff. And you can use whatever stuffing techniques you would like. I know some people like it stuffed really full. Some people like it stuffed not very much at all. Now remember, this is going to probably, I mean, this is either a pillow or a pet pillow or whatever you want it to be. So for whatever purpose you want, you know, make the adequate amount of stuffing. I don't have a certain stuffing technique. I have watched channels where they say you have to put it real small or you have to, you know, fluff it in a certain way, but I don't usually do that. You are certainly welcome to do that if you would like. I'm just going to put pieces in and fluff them and smush them as needed. So let's stuff it to our desired stuffiness and then come back. All right, next is just to finish sewing up your opening. And I'm going to do that off camera. I just wanted to let you know what the next step is. And then the reveal. And here is the donut pillow. I love it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If so, please subscribe. I've got lots of tutorials out there. They're all in my playlist, so check out my playlist. They're all my tutorials. And please consider liking this video, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.